Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Mac's screen behind him is malfunctioning a bit, but we are still very much presented by Ingles.
That's right.
And we're going to get into all these games from this crazy week 8. Mac, we had a great tailgate. Shout out to Ingles. We got so many things from Ingles there. We had a bagel bar, which was fire, some cream
Come on.
cheese in there, some
Come
berries
on.
for the children. It got messy, Mac, as you would know. My son at one point was just walking around with like a piece of bagel with cream cheese on it, and he held on to that. You know how kids do that? He held on to that one piece for like an hour and a half. And I think he
Wow.
got dirt on the cream cheese, and I think at one point
Sure.
he ate it. I mean, that's just where we were, Mac, but we had a great time. It was a fun day.
He's my spirit animal. Let's
Yeah.
just say that. And he looked like he had a great time. His second game ever. He
We
was
loved it.
cheering. He was saying more when the band
He
stopped.
really was.
He's all in.
The flyover blew his mind, Mac. The
Oh,
airplane. He looked at us after that and he said, "More airplane?" And we were like, that's probably the only airplane.
turn it around, boys. Turn it
coming."
around. That's amazing.
So yeah, but with all the children in the house, as you can tell, my voice has suffered. got a little bug. But we're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it.
You're making
And
it.
Mac, we just shout out Ingles, of course, for all their help, all their assistance this weekend. Mac, before we get into these games, you were in California. California.
And we're back.
You have nothing
already.
to say?
We're back. No, thought you were going to sing me a song or something there. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to go to Cali. Kind of one of those things like you did it. Awesome. Let's not do it again for another 6 years. Who knows? Check the box. We made it happen. It was a really cool experience though. Had some amazing golf. Big shout out to EJ and our my new friend JG out there, Big Joe, for making that happen. That was amazing and just beautiful. Like we played, not to downgrade it, but we literally played like some little local $50 course, and it was stunning. I mean, it was right on top of a reservoir. It was unbelievable. It was very, very beautiful. Cool deal. I haven't even told you this. I'm gonna get your live reaction. I sunk like an 80-foot birdie putt.
No
It
way.
was sick. It was so sick. EJ and them saw it.
Let's
Another group across the way
go.
saw it. It was amazing. It was like one of the moments where you're like, I'm the best golfer in the world. Like, it's
course.
just, there's nothing else. There's nothing else I could do. I should
I can
stop
just
right
hear
now.
you like screaming so
Yeah.
loud that the whole
Yeah.
course heard you.
Yeah. And then, the next hole, triple bogey. It's all good. Like
That's how it works.
you keep coming
That's how it
back. You come back for the 80-foot, birdie putt. But that was a lot of fun. We got to go to the Laker Warrior game Friday night, which was amazing. Got to hang out in San Francisco. I was hanging out with your boy Steph Curry, who did
Yeah.
not play.
You guys
I was
hung out
very
afterwards?
sad. Yeah, we were talk about an 80-foot putt. We were probably 8,000 feet away from each other. But I got a pic. I sent it to you, which was great. Saw Bronny getting coached up by LeBron James, was amazing. Fast forward to throughout the day, normal work day, whatever. It was weird because we started at the crack of dawn. It's dark
Yeah.
outside, but that's normal. And then we all caught red eyes back home, and we're here. I got here really quickly, and we're just making it happen. So it was a great time out there, and a fun weekend. There was some crazy stuff that happened this weekend.
Absolutely, there was. So let's get into these games, Max. What's your name? Let's get into these games, Mac, after a message from Ingles.
Did you know Ingles only sells USDA choice and prime cuts of meat? Maybe it's time to reward yourself. Our butchers cut all our meat fresh in the store every day. Grass-fed, organic, you name it. Not only that, we'll even cut it to order just the way you like it. And we grind meat fresh in the store multiple times a day. It's all in the bag. That's the best meat in town for the best folks in town. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Okay, Mac, we're going to start with the highest ranked team in the ACC and I would say the craziest game of the weekend, which seems to be a theme for Miami. They love these crazy games. Number 6 Miami beats Louisville 52-45. They remain undefeated. They win another road game and they entertain us completely along the way. You couldn't turn that game off. And Cam Ward again was phenomenal. I think he is absolutely 100% in the Heisman. Obviously been in the Heisman conversation. I think we're at the point where unless something completely drastically changes, he's going to be in New York for sure. And then, we'll see how the season ends. I think he has quite a few more chances to cement what he's doing, but 4
Sure.
touchdowns, took really good care of the football, Mac. I thought that was huge.
Yeah.
Miami just had the one turnover, was the fumble, and that was massive on the road in a tough environment. Louisville, who could score. I mean, we saw that. Thought it was really big that Miami took better care of the ball.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And, I think just to start on, the Miami side, kind of the things you were talking right there, Cam Ward is unbelievable. He is so freaking fun to watch. His ability to create is insane. And we say it every week, but guys, like, it's crazy what he's doing. Like, it really is. The confidence that he has, he basically replicated the throw that he made against Florida, where
Yes.
he's sitting there and doesn't see anybody open, kind of floats over to the left. And then when he threw the ball, Jacoby George was on the right hash, the opposite hash. The ball ended almost to the sideline. And it's just like the vision and even just the confidence, maybe arrogance to throw that pass is crazy. And it's a touchdown. And it's just who he is. He's that good. He's that good of a dude. He has that much swagger. His control of the offense, like I said, is just insane. There's never any panic. His pocket presence is phenomenal. I mean, just slight adjustments to get out of the way. Now, he got hit a little bit. I mean, Louisville did a really good job, had a plan in place where they're sending guys, but it never phased him. He had 350 total yards or right under that, 4 touchdowns. He's just a special dude. And I think, what's interesting is I saw Jordan Reed put out his kind of mock draft or his most recent one, or maybe it was a top 10, whatever it was. He had Cam going 4th to the Oakland Raiders. So it's going to be fascinating to see just what this ends up, because that's where I think we are now. Like we're talking about big legacy type of things and getting everybody involved. I mean, Sam Brown was just electric. I mean, 3 catches, KG, for 125 yards is nuts. Xavier Restrepo, steady Eddie. I mean, that guy's just one of the best receivers in the country. 7 catches, over 100 yards again, touchdown. It seems like he has a touchdown every single game. And then Miami able to run the ball. I mean, they ran it for 220 yards. I mean, that was awesome, to see the complete and total package that these guys had. So it's an interesting thing, to really look at. Seemingly, as you kind of brought it up, there's a controversial call. There is a hit that when it happened live, I was like, that's an incomplete pass. When I saw it from one particular angle, I said, oh, shoot, that's a fumble. And they called it a fumble on the field, and they returned it for a touchdown. I mean, that is a game-changing play, what they were able to do in Louisville getting that going. And then they reversed it. They surely did. 3 times in a row, it's been favorable for Miami. It is weird. And I know other fan bases hate it. I mean, they are going nuts on Twitter, KG. Even other people, other conferences chiming in. It is crazy. It absolutely is. And so I just want to hear what y'all think. Let us know in the chat. Was it a fumble? Was it an incomplete pass? It's really weird. And the only reason I have any hesitation, again, it's this one particular angle where it's kind of like a side front view, is right before his arm starts to come forward. To me, it looks like the ball's moving, which in my opinion, that means it's a fumble. But again, there's a ton of other different views where it looks like he's throwing it. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. It's just, it's happening. Don't be shocked.
Happening.
It's happening. So it's weird. It's really weird.
The fact that it's happened 3 games in a row and 3 very close games is just, I'm not sure we've seen something like that before.
No.
When I was watching it live, I said that's an incomplete pass. I think that's an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
But, and a few people came at me with this on Twitter, and I get it. You need indisputable evidence to overturn it. And the fact that they reversed it, that was odd. Like, I thought it was an incomplete pass, but because of what it was called on the field,
Right.
I thought they're not going to overturn this, which again is exactly what we thought in the Virginia Tech game. I thought it wasn't a catch, but because they called it a catch, how could they possibly overturn that? Right. It was a weird weekend, by the way, for overturning things, or at least reversing calls. The Texas game, that was crazy. If you throw enough beer cans, the SEC
No
officials
reversal.
will flip a call. But, in the end, Miami's getting it done. It adds more intrigue. It adds more buzz. It adds more discussion. Like we said, now the Virginia Tech play is different. But the targeting play with Cal and this play,
Right.
there's no guarantee that leads to Miami losing. But obviously, it would have led to, because then it would have been tied up, right? It would have led to a much more interesting game down the stretch. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how Miami keeps doing this. But Mac,
I
I
don't know.
do know what the people will say in the comments, because most of the people that watch or watching this right now who have thoughts on this game are Miami fans. And I think I know what they'll say, because when I said it was targeting against
Right.
Cal, we all know what they said. But Louisville fans, hey, we want to hear from you. Tell us what you think.
If you're out there, let us know. So let's go to Louisville. Let's go on the other side. They were dominant on offense. They
Yeah,
did
that's
a
great.
really, really good job. It was fun to see. Pushing it through the air. Tyler Shuck threw it 51 times. I mean, they were unconscious. You had that massive 100-yard plus kick return to the house.
It was huge.
Brooks is just showing time and time again that he is an absolute monster as a receiver, and the things that he has been able to do. So I tell you what, the interesting thing, so great job, Louisville. You didn't finish, and I know, whatever, you wanted to get that done. But Miami's defense, these last 3 games, bad.
Yeah.
Not good. Like absolute
I've been saying
liability.
that.
Yeah.
I've been worried.
It's suspect for sure. And what's going to be interesting is when you do play, another dog, whenever that's going to be. I mean, I'm looking at
Like
the
Florida
schedule
State
right
next
now.
week.
Yeah, for sure. Like them. That
What?
would be the most ACC thing ever, by the way. If that.
Okay, when you play another
I'm not
dog, when
gonna
you play
say-
Duke.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I'm like eating anything or doing anything,
Oh, please don't.
but that will be the most ACC thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, it
Ever.
would, but Mac, there's no way. Florida State is so bad.
Ask
They're
Coach
so
Rick
bad.
in 2017 if he thought he was going to go to like 1-win Pittsburgh and
Pitt.
lose.
Yeah.
And he did. So anyway, we'll see. I actually don't think they have it on the schedule. I don't think they have it on. I think it'll be if they play Clemson in the championship. That'll be the first time where you're like, hey, we've got to be firing on all cylinders. And Clemson does too. Don't get me wrong. Both teams have the ability to absolutely tear them down. But it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting. With that, all that said, I think Miami is playing at a super high level. I mean, it's been really fun to watch offensively because you have a player like Cam Ward that's just he's unbelievable. He's one of the best, if not the best, in the country.
He is. And Restrepo, I know you mentioned him earlier, but just wanted to shout him out because he enabled me to go 4 for 4 on my underdog picks and win $42, which means
Thank you for clarifying.
Yes. Which means I can go buy myself some Dayquil for what I'm dealing with right now. So that's obviously great. Very excited about that. But Restrepo is so freaking consistent. I love watching him play. And if you need just one more pick to fill out your underdog picks, right? By the way, use our code GMPOD. Put Restrepo on there and just pick any of them. Go holler on like any of those things.
Yeah.
Because
close your eyes and just point.
Yes, he will get it done. But Mac, you kind of mentioned this earlier. It feels like after this game, Miami has a schedule where it's okay. There's no one else that can really challenge them. Louisville was probably going to be the best regular season team they play.
Right.
Now, let's see, right? You got to handle your business, but it does feel like it's shaping up. Miami has a pretty, it feels like they're going to end up in the ACC championship. Clemson, with Louisville and Pitt still left.
And Virginia Tech. At Virginia Tech.
Yeah, let's talk about Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
Perhaps a little more intrigue there.
Right.
But Miami gets it done.
There's no question. There's no question. It is fascinating. And you talk about a suspect freaking defense. Batters up Clemson because what the heck? It's and I'll tell you the weirdest thing for me with it, and I mean it's more intimate and it's my team. I get it. I'm such a homer, but it is so weird because you will see moments of brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
We're fully transitioning here. We're on to Clemson. You will see crazy moments where you're just like, that's good. Did you just see what Barrett Carter just did? Oh my, Avion Terrell, what? Peter Woods, oh my gosh. And then it's just like,
Yeah.
forget how to play football for a second. And guys are running wide open. And, I see guys looking around at each other or not set, or it's such a weird thing right now. And I mentioned this, like 3 games into the season, but to this point, still right now going into week 9, we have not seen Clemson football play true 60 minutes of defense. I mean, we just haven't seen it. They have not been able to put that together. I said I thought Wake Forest was the best overall game, by the Tigers, and yet still they gave up 14 in like 10 seconds. I mean, it was just insane to see, how they were able to do that, what they were able to do. And then in this game, it looks like a dominating fashion against, Virginia. And, I think at one point it was, I'm trying to find the score chart, 38-10, and you're just like, okay, here we go. Clemson's about to start pulling away. Then you look up and it's 25-41. You're just like, what? Where did these points come from? How are they, scoring all these different touchdowns? So it's a really interesting thing. Very similar to Miami. Offense is humming. I mean, the offense is incredible. 500 plus yards. Kay Klubnik, I thought, had one of his best days, just minus that really, really dumb turnover, which that was probably the worst pick I've ever seen in a Clemson uniform. Because it was so bad.
Don't say that, Mac. I believe there's been worse.
I don't think so. Cade. I mean, there's.
Wait, are you talking for Cade or for a quarterback?
Or anyone that ever existed in the whole world?
You're wrong.
You have one? You have a worse one?
Shovel pass pick six at Pitt, DJU.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. It was terrible.
Servassier Dennis. Servassier Dennis from the crib. He didn't. Yeah, but you don't see that guy. You can't see that.
Double pass pick six.
You didn't see him.
All right, it's fine.
But I also will give you. This was the funniest thing. If you guys can go find this and put a link in the video, Taj Boyd is like falling on his face in 2013 and just throws the ball straight up in the air, and a defensive end takes it to the house.
You were wrong.
That might be the worst. That might be the worst one. But this was like a very, paying attention. I see there's 3 people there. There you go. Here's the ball.
Right to him.
It was the weirdest thing ever. It was the weirdest thing. So you're right. It's not the worst, but it's top 3. Outside of that, I thought he was great and pushing the ball around. Had a lot of strength on the ball. I mean, there was some passes. I was like, whoa, that's a big boy throw. Some great play calling. I think Garrett Riley is in his bag right now. That dude, it looks awesome. And just who he's getting involved, how he's getting them involved. I mean, taking Antonio Williams and letting him throw it back-to-back games, putting him on a jet sweep and he's running it, throwing a 4th and 1. This is psychotic. 4th and 1, and to the field or to the boundary, you have 2 tight ends running go routes on 4th and 1, and they're wide open and score is insane. It's insane, and I love it. It was such a great play call. They're firing on all cylinders, and that's without arguably their most explosive wide receiver in Bryant Wesco and a freshman All-American last year in Tyler Brown. And when those guys get back, who knows? I mean, people are just emerging at a very high level. Thought the offensive line played great. It's fun to see what Clemson has going on right now.
This feels like why Dabo hired Garrett Riley and what he hired him to do. That's what we're seeing right now out of this offense. I thought it was explosive yet again. I thought it was creative. Yeah. And those were the 2 words. Those were the 2 things that we've been begging to see from Clemson for a couple years. The defense, Mac, what's interesting is I think we've seen this too in a few games, right? A lesser opponent like Virginia, they score quite a few points in the 4th quarter when some of your second and third stringers are in. I think we're seeing a little bit of a lack of depth for Clemson. I think that's an issue for sure, especially defensively. But also, let's talk about what happened here. Virginia put in Tony Muskett, and then all of a sudden, Virginia was rolling. That was weird. I mean, Calandria obviously struggled.
Yeah.
You put in Tony Muskett again. Maybe it's obviously a Clemson defense that's checked out a little. The game's over.
Well, and third stringers. I mean, it was
sure. I get it, but still,
well, you're right. It happened. You're right.
Is there an issue for UVA now? That's my question.
I don't know. You are right. I noticed that too, and I'm like, whoa, this guy's dealing right now. And he threw some strikes. I mean, he threw some really nice passes. So I don't know. I mean, it's such an interesting thing when you just see. The 65-yard bomb touchdown at the end of the game. I'm just like, this is so.
But
dumb.
Mac, do you know what happened though? You know what enabled what all this did? Virginia covered.
They covered.
Like
And
I
it
told
was
you they
not
would.
cool. So what's crazy, yeah, you knew it. What's crazy is, so when Coach Elliott, they score, and he goes for 2, and I think they onside kicked it, right? They onside kicked.
Yeah,
And Coach Sweeney was like, okay, Cade,
correct.
get back in.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they marched down and score. And I was like, Clemson just covered. That is huge. That's massive. And then the 65-yard bomb, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. That is unbelievable that just happened. So I know other people who like actually put some real hardcore money on this were sick. They were sick to their stomach. Maybe you won, maybe you didn't. Who knows? But that was a crazy game. I think this bye week for Clemson couldn't be at a better time. Couldn't be at a better time. I mean, it is brilliant.
We'll see if Clemson can get those wide receivers who we've mentioned back for the Louisville
Hearing
game.
November is like the time. So that's like, that is the next game they play. I think it's right around that, November 2nd or something of that nature.
And yeah, it's Louisville. And Louisville does have to go to BC this Friday. And then they have Clemson. Clemson has a bye, gets to hang out, work on themselves. I think that obviously bodes well for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Mac, let's get to our next ranked team, number 21 SMU, who drops to 22 after winning by 30.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Out of my face.
Unbelievable.
I'm mad.
AP voters. You know, we haven't really we've said the numbers because it's fun, but we haven't really addressed them. Like the fact that they had Iowa State after beating one of the worst teams in the Big 12 ahead of Clemson. Like they jumped 3 spots last week. I was like, you guys are imbeciles. And now, after a 30-point road win, they drop SMU 1. I'm like, okay.
Mac, what about
anyway,
after a 10-point win over Ball State, we have now ranked Vandy.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That may be my favorite new development. And of course,
they beat a really good Alabama team.
Oh, really good. Yeah.
Dynastic, some would say.
All right, let's get to SMU. SMU rolled. Mac was there. They beat Stanford 40-10. Yeah. Kevin Jennings was phenomenal. 322 yards, 3 touchdowns. SMU 502 total yards. Stanford 206. That tells you a lot. Tells you what you need to know. SMU handled their business. Mac, what did you see being at this game?
Yeah, well, what I saw was we got done with our show. We started walking to the golf cart to go do some other stuff, some other work. And before we could even get to the golf cart, there was an 87-yard touchdown that happened in one play. Yeah. The first play ever. And I'm just
right off the jump.
Wow. Okay, this is going to be interesting. And then by the time we get to the office, another touchdown had been scored. So now it's 14-0. And at some point, I think it was still the first quarter. I think it was like 3 in a row. I think it was 3 series in a row. They scored again. And I'm just like, this is out of hand in a hurry. This is not good. Now, there was a turnover that maybe broke it up a little bit because it could have been 28-0, 30-something-0 in a hurry, where they fumbled and Stanford did take advantage of it. But it was just brutal. And, I'm going to be honest, I was going back and forth if I want to do this or not. That was one of the worst environments I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I have been to, like, Pop Warner football that had more people there. I mean, it was crazy. It was embarrassingly bad. Embarrassingly bad. And that it is so different. I get it. Whatever. We made the decision they're in. But, like, so we're going back and forth. Our office, number one, is miles away from where the stadium is. It was so stupid. But anyway, there are people just, like, walking around campus, doing their own thing, families. I'm like, I could not imagine being at Clemson or being at FSU or being at NC State or Virginia Tech and people not at the game. Like, that's what we do. That's what you do. That's what Saturdays are for. And it was the weirdest thing, KG. So not that I intentionally wanted to do that, but the truth is the truth. And it was really embarrassing. It was weird.
And you had to fly 6 hours to get out there.
Awesome. Love that.
And take a red eye back.
It's just wild. It's just wild.
I'm glad you said it. We'll just leave it there. The
SMU's a real deal, though. That offense is sick. Defense playing out of their mind. Coach Rhett Lashley wasn't satisfied, was fired up a couple of times. Love that dude. We're following them again. We'll be at Duke this weekend with them. They're playing really, really good. They've got me believing, like, more than before, I think, just how confident Kevin is playing, play calling, and really that defense. I mean, that was the point I was interested. Are they going to be close to what they did against G5 opponents? And the answer's been absolutely.
That's a great point, Mac, because that was something we talked about a lot when we were previewing this team. We said, can the defense replicate what they did
Right.
last year? Because last year they were elite.
Yeah.
And because of quite a few different factors and forcing turnovers, they've been very, very good. I've
Yeah.
been very impressed with how that's translated. You bring up SMU traveling to Duke. Let's talk about Duke.
Come on.
Let's get into this game. Duke beats Florida State 23-16 on a Friday night. Whew, it was ugly. It was an ugly football game, but Duke won, okay? And Duke is feeling great. Duke finished with 180 total yards of offense and won the football game. They forced 4 Florida State turnovers. I'm going to use forced lightly. And Duke beats Florida State for the first time in the history of football. Brock Glenn was 9 for 19 for 110 and 2 picks. Star Thomas ran the ball really well for Duke. For all that talk of Brock Glenn, like, could he turn things around? Could he be the answer for Florida State? It just feels like, Mac, there is no answer for Florida State. And credit to Duke for finding a way to win.
That is right. Give Duke the credit. You had 10 first downs and you won the game. That is just insane to me. And you said the total, 180 yards, 10 first downs. I mean, that is insane. And quite frankly, Florida State should be, if they're not, I mean, they're embarrassed, but they should be just floored. I mean, just absolutely floored. And, it was fun. I got to admit, it was fun, KG, for 5 minutes of a podcast for us to be back. We were Knowles. It was awesome. I was thriving. I was so excited.
After a good moral victory, yeah.
Got ripped away and destroyed. I'm sitting here guaranteeing that it's going to happen, and they get thumped. And it was just dumb. It was just so bad. Bad football on all accounts. But you got it done. And what's awesome is Manny Diaz is a Florida State grad and coached there, been there. And for him to be the first ever Duke football coach to beat these guys is nuts. In his first year, just really cool. Really, really cool. So big shout out to them. Shout out to Duke. 1-22, baby. We're on the come up. Here we go. And we've got a 6-1 versus 6-1 matchup this week at Duke. That's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. You're going to need more than 10 first downs to win, though. I promise you that.
The start of a new streak in that series is Duke. Mac, I want to just spend a second here because I know the Florida State fans aren't watching because they've given up. They've moved on to other things, and I completely understand. They're apathetic. They're done. They're out. I got it. Just move on to next season. But I just want to ask, is Florida State going to win another game besides Charleston Southern? They have Charleston Southern. Will they win another game?
Will they beat them? Will they beat Charleston Southern?
Oh, God.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
They're so bad. They're so bad.
If
they don't beat them,
shut down the program. You have Miami. You have North Carolina at home. That seems very winnable.
North Carolina, I don't think Mac Brown, at least. Maybe it's North Carolina at home. Mac Brown has never beaten Florida State.
It's Mac Brown, yeah. Notre Dame at home. All these home games. Your entire November is you're at Notre Dame, at Notre Dame. Charleston Southern, and then Florida. Mac, when I see that product, I don't think they beat North Carolina. I think that locker room is completely
in shambles.
Completely done. I think they go 2-10, which is just unbelievable to me. With all of our discussions preseason,
yeah.
For this team to go 2-10, and of course the question is, does DJU even return? Like, who is your quarterback? I don't know.
Return where?
To the team.
No. He's gone. That dude's gone. If he even gets another year, I don't know if that's officially a thing. He's gone. There's no way that.
So, I mean, are you predicting 2-10? Is that
for
where
sure? For sure.
What's happening? Okay.
The fact that they beat Cal is crazy. I don't know how that happened.
Cal.
That was a terrible game. That was a horrible game.
That was a terrible game.
Algorithm. Calgarized that. That was terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, for sure. 2-10.
Oh
brutal.
gosh.
Doesn't make any sense. Don't understand it. All the talent that is there, it is baffling. It is absolutely baffling. 10 guys to the league, I get it. Handful of transfers, I get it. But there are dudes there. And it's just, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, you're not as good as you think you are. I don't know if it's Jordan Travis was that good. I don't know if the other guys were that good.
It's a combination of everything.
I think it is. And it's just, the question is, what do you do? Like, do you go get 40 new players in the portal?
Didn't you already kind of do that?
Go get 40 more. I don't know.
Florida State should never, ever, 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 ever lose to Duke in football, with all due respect to Duke. It should not happen. And I say that about Clemson too, and Clemson lost last year. So shout out Duke.
How about this run that Duke is on? These
Come
guys
on,
are
Duke.
unbeatable. It's unbelievable.
Duke. All right, Mac,
Football
before we get to our speed round, and you're going to run through most of these games because my voice is failing.
I got you.
I will use my voice to brag as I'm coughing. I'm sorry. On this 4-for-4 week
You're so
on
right.
Underdog Fantasy, where your girl won $42 and is feeling really good. Riley Leonard higher than 239.5 passing rushing yards. It's got that. Restrepo higher than 0.5 rushing receiving touchdowns. That take Restrepo to the bank every weekend. Brenningstool higher than 36.5 receiving yards. Klubnik higher than 26.5 passing yards. It's not that hard, Mac. It's just not that hard. Use our code GMPod.
Not that hard. I'm with you. Listen, I did an 8 pick here, and I was 6 for 8. So there you go. I
That's
won.
really good.
You did 40. I won $9. So that's great. Yeah, I'm right there. I'm right
Combine
there with
our
you.
money, we're rich.
We're so rich. We can do anything. There's nothing we can't do.
Mm-hmm.
I was with you on Riley Leonard. I just went with touchdowns. That's what he does. The dude's going to get in the end zone. He did it twice, so I doubled up there. Not really, but he did it. Jamal Haynes rushing touchdown was actually super sus.
Yeah.
And people hate when we use that word. I'm sorry, suspect. He fumbled the ball into the end zone and landed on it. Thank God for a touchdown there. Anthony Calandria did not throw a pick. I thought that was like a Graham-like guarantee. I thought that was happening.
Yeah.
Clemson has been so opportunistic, taking the football away. He protected the ball, so I missed on that. Antonio Williams' touchdown actually made me sweat because he had a rushing touchdown. He didn't have a receiving touchdown. And that was like a 30-yard touchdown, so that was nuts there. Really cool by him. Cade Klubnik over 263, higher than 263. That was automatic. CJ Bailey, we're about to talk about this. 216 against a California team that has been lighting people up, that has been killing people. And I was like, there's no way this dude's going to do that. And he throws for 300 yards and their first ACC dub. So I missed on that one, but I'm not mad about it. Big shout out to CJ. That was impressive to see what he did. I think 70% completion rating, KG, for 300 yards and maybe a touchdown or two. Really, really impressive. Cam Ward, this one was crazy. And I can't believe I did it. 323, and I went lower. And he threw for 319. You talk about sweating?
Man.
What are we doing?
No, Underdog knows.
No, hey, got it done there. And he started really slow. I was like, this is the easiest pick of my life. Then he catches in Fuego. And I'm just like, no, you're so dumb. Why did you ever do that? But I got it. I hit on it. And then Tyler Shuck, lower than 44.5 for his longest. I just thought that was relatively easy. So anyway, what I should have done is listen to you. I should have put Xavier Restrepo on here, and I should have put, I don't know, there's probably a couple other, that Brenningstool, like that's usually a good one. I felt silly. I should have done it. Phil Maffa, touchdown, easy. Like there's some that they're so easy, they're hard, and I'm just a dummy. But we won. We both won money. We're in the green. It's good.
We're in the green.
Good.
It's okay, Mac. I'm here to help. I'm here.
I
Call me whenever you need me.
I
got you.
That. Do you want me to do this? You want to take a breather? Just drink your water and just look pretty, get our ratings up?
I would like to say one. Let me just start with this game. This is the game I want to talk about. The rest, you roll through.
All right.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe.
Virginia.
Maybe.
I'm going to get there. Virginia Tech beating BC 42-21. Tootin'. Bashal Tootin'. I just like saying that name. I feel like you got to say it like Southern, right? Like Bashal Tootin'. 266 rushing yards. Virginia Tech school record. 4 touchdowns. The dude was awesome. Virginia Tech has been sneaky good in their last 2 games. This was their most complete game of the season for sure. APR, 4 sacks. Shout out Virginia Tech. Could they end up 9-3, 8-4? Could they catch fire? They're probably not going to beat Clemson, but could they finish 8-4?
Yeah.
Stepping stone. Vandy's ranked now, Hokies. I had to give Virginia Tech some love there.
Come on. I'm with that. And honestly, like, I'm not a big fan of third quarters, so I don't even think that happened. They won 42-0. I mean, that's crazy. That's amazing that they were able to do that. It was really impressive. It's so funny, KG, because we were playing golf and, like watching on your phone, going to hit, and you lose a little service, so you can't really watch it. And so you're just doing your thing. I got service and looked at it after it being, I think it was 28-0, and it was 28-21. And I was like, what happened? What is going on here? And then, of course, they go and score 14 in the fourth there. But this is what we expected him to look like, right? Like all year. I mean, Kyron was electric, 14 of 18, only 164 yards, but still very efficient, pushing the ball to his guys, getting it done. Bashal Tootin, school record, 266 rushing yards on 18 attempts. That is insane. That is a monster. 3 touchdowns. Kyron also had 2 tutties on the ground and for 40 yards, which is just crazy. And then you mentioned the defense, Saxburg, just hitting guys, tackles for loss, was impressive. And it's really like, here's the biggest thing to me. I know this is supposed to be a speed round. We'll go quickly through these other ones. This is what we expected. This is what we thought we would see. And it is so just dumb. I'm not even going to say bizarre. It is dumb that it's taken this long for this to be this. Like, everybody was back. Everybody. There shouldn't have been some type of curve. There shouldn't have been some process. Like, let's just go. Let's go. Let's be who we are. So I don't know. It's fascinating. You talk about building on. A lot of these guys are going to be gone next year. I mean, they're going to be moving on. So I don't know. Virginia Tech's in a weird spot, and I think there is a foundation. I think there's a culture, but it's weird. And I love that team, and I love that place, and it deserves consistency. We've said that for 6 years. Here we are. We're going to keep saying it over and over again. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Georgia Tech started pretty good, 7-0. We're like, let's go. And then 31 points later, here we go. Notre Dame does their thing. They win relatively convincingly. Haynes King, we kind of knew he wasn't going to play. Tried to relatively allude to it without saying it. He's such a difference maker. It's hard to be who you are. Miami wouldn't be who they are. Clemson wouldn't be who they are. All these star quarterbacks. When you lose your guy, it's tough to really be that. Wake Forest, Road Dogs, getting a dub. Really proud of them. That was amazing. Awesome to see. The way they did it was really impressive there. And then NC State, getting their first win. Road win, 3,000 miles away. We talked about it. CJ Bailey, 300 yards, doing his thing. Gritty win. 14 fourth quarter points to get the dub. Really, really impressive by them. And it's funny too, KG. We were sitting, again, we did this red eye. I don't remember what time we were in the airport. It's like 10 p.m. Local. I guess that's about 1 something Eastern. And there's one NC State fan in like this airport club thing whenever we were
No
in.
way.
And he sees him, he recognizes us. We're like, hey, great win. He was like, yeah, I think that was our best conference win of the year. And like, as a joke. I'm like, yeah, man, it definitely was. It definitely was. Good job. So anyway, shout out to them getting back in the win column. It was a crazy week. Here we are. We're back on the East Coast. We'll be at Duke this weekend. We'll have a massive episode for you on Wednesday. And then Friday, of course, as always, we will break all these games down and can't wait. We're rolling. Season's almost over. It's terrible to think about. It's very sad to think about. But we continue. Are you saying something?
Yes, let me say one thing.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. Let me stop.
Great work. You nailed it. I just wanted to say that we got to 8,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, yes.
Which is what we asked people for on Friday, just to get us over that hump. We appreciate it very much. We won't ask you for anything more. If you want to tell someone to subscribe yourself, that's great. We're not going to ask you, though, because we got to our goal.
Yeah.
And my husband just brought me a cough drop, so
shout out, Nick.
feeling good.
Gosh,
let's go for another hour. Just kidding.
I love that.
I need to go. I need to go take some medicine.
So 8,000. Thank you so much. Very grateful. Let's get to 80 by Wednesday. 80,000. That'll be great. Just keep rolling. Keep this thing rolling. But appreciate you guys. Seriously, go subscribe. Like right now. Hit the button, please. You're here. You're still here. Hit the button. Jump in the comments. There was a lot of things that we're interested in, specifically these Miami calls. Let us know. Are they right? Are they wrong? Do you care? Do you not care? Whatever. They're winning. They're undefeated. So we need you to jump in and do that over on SiriusXM, on Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe there as well. We would greatly appreciate you guys for that. But until next time, we'll see y'all.